Hello and welcome back to the NFL.com. My name's Sean Connors and I'm on my own today. I'm doing a video all about in the strategy series. This is video 2, all about why running backs garner such a high price, high premium in fantasy football. Effectively, it is the scarcity of the position. I mean, if you think about it very carefully, one of the problems is if there are 32 teams, then in theory there should be 32 relatively elite players. But of course, we all know that in fantasy football that never quite works that simply. A lot of teams use committees these days, and therefore the position is diluted. So when you have one of these elite running backs, that is why they tend to get drafted very high in most fantasy drafts. But when you crunch the numbers, things start to get very interesting, and you can really see the reasons why. And so I've done that work already for you. I've looked at the last 4 years worth of data. There's an interesting statistical anomaly in those 4 years worth of data. I'm going to just flick to that. In 2015 is the only year that I can find on living record of what stats we have in fantasy where top running backs did not secure, only 2 secured over 200 fantasy points. It's the only time it's ever happened. And there was a big drop-off for production. That was the year where most of the top running backs fell over, got injured. And there was a talk at the time from 14 to 15, this is 2014 to 2015, that this was the era of the wide receiver. Well, it hasn't worked out that way. And running backs' positions have gone back to what they normally do, which is the elite ones generally score you very well. How well do they do? Well, if you look at, say, a top 3 finish, so a running back that finishes 3 on average will give you about 230 fantasy points. That's a very easy metrics to predict. It's one that spells out nearly every single year. And, you know, before the season started, as I started to formulate opinions about the running backs, I was putting numbers on them. And it's a number that comes up roughly right. You know, when you look back at the data, I put the number about 230 on who I thought would finish number 3 this year. And that's spelled out in the data. As you look back, as you go to the 10th best running back, statistically on average, 167 points. So the drop-off from 230 to 168 is dramatic. It's very quick. And it gets worse as you drop to the 20th best, where it drops to 131 fantasy points to the 20th best. So when you think about that, it sounds like there's a lot of running backs, 20. But if your league size is even normal, how many running backs go off the board? Now, maybe in PPR, full-point PPR, maybe less do, because there are more of these sort of in-betweening running backs, you know, these committee running backs that can work and you can run them in your game. But if you think about it, and you've probably seen it in a lot of leagues that you've been involved in, this is the reason why running backs get pushed out quickly and hard and often. And the difference between them is massive. So if you've got one of the, you know, a top 3 guy, a number 3 guy against your number 10 guy, on average, I can see a difference of about 61 points that I've gained in fantasy. That's going to be about a difference of 4 points a week. We're getting close to owning you, and that's like gaining me almost an extra half a player. And can you imagine if I got 2 right, what the difference is? So you can see the reason why, and that's why I wanted to spell it out as you look at the video, the big difference. And think about the 20th best just for a moment. 20th best isn't a lot. I mean, if you look at leagues right now and take the top 20, that's the kind of Alex Collins, Geis range. We've been talking about that in videos. That's round about round 2 in a large league, round 3 maybe. So all your running backs could well be off the board. The top 20 targets could be off the board. Now, there may be some gems down low, and that's great if you hit one, but you can quickly see the drop-off. So that's the reason why we've done this video, to show you, hopefully prove to you, the scarcity of position and give you an understanding of that. And you've got to factor that in when you're drafting. And that is why a lot of canny and savvy people will obviously utilise their draft spot. They know, you know, you can't pass up in some leagues an Antonio Brown or DeAndre Hopkins. Of course you can't. It would make no sense at a certain drafting point. But you know, if you don't get a running back in the next round, your delay, the risk is very high. Now, we know some very clever people. We draft with them who are experts, really, I would call them experts, at doing the 0 RB thing. I don't know how they do it well enough, because the data does not spell it out to be that easy to achieve. So to be able to achieve it, you've got to hit every single thing right. You've got to get all 3 right, and you've got to land it. But for the purpose of this video, what I hope I've shown you is that running backs, the scarcity of the position is there for a reason. It's something you have to account for in the league size that you're involved in, and you have to make sure you've got someone, because if you don't, you will be behind the 8 ball very quickly. Anyway, I've been Sean Connors. This has been NFLFantasyFanPub.com. Sorry, I'm going mad now. Please like, subscribe and share, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.